Hello, friends, and welcome to another topic of airport engineering. Today, we'll learn about airport planning. Myself, Tushar Patel, Assistant Professor from the Department of Civil Engineering from the college Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center, Navsari. We are not just teachers, we are the managers of world greatest resource, that is children. Robert John Mahan rightly said. So before moving, I'd just like to say that today we'll be studying about airport planning and the characteristics and factors affecting the airport planning. Today's contents are we'll study about airport planning, then we'll reach to the regional planning, then we'll study about how the site selections affect for the airports, factors affecting airport site selection. Next, we'll study about airport layouts, planning of airport elements, airport capacity, and zoning laws. So, what is airport planning? These can be divided into two categories: airport system planning and individual airport planning. Airport system planning deals with the interaction between airports as well as the planning of airports at a regional or national level. Such planning is required for national or state-wide funding schedules that support air development and for ensuring a systematic approach to the allocation of funding among the many eligible airports. It also covers the management of multiple airports in a large metropolitan region. As far for the second category, comprehensive planning for the development of a specific airport is usually included in an airport master plan. Such a master plan is a list of comprehensive concepts for long-term development of an existing airport or construction of a new airport and presents the complete development concept utilizing graphical representation where appropriate, and the data and rationale upon which the plan is based. See in this figure, this is the whole site of an airport. This is to be planned before building up any airport. Next, we have the regional planning. It is not only sufficient that we have to plan a airport. We also have to plan our regional. So, an overall planning of an airport for all the regions of a country is called regional planning. The planning of an airport should be done considering the traffic needs of the nation as a whole rather than an individual locality. The regional planning of an airport system plan is a representation of the aviation facilities required to meet the immediate and the future transportation needs of the country and their timely and orderly development. These also recommend the general locations and characteristics of new airports and the nature of expansion for the existing airports. Now, there are some of the objectives of regional planning. Firstly, to develop a balanced regional multimodal transportation system with coordinated airport facility. To provide a framework for individual airport development program consistent with short, immediate and long-term airport system requirements. These are the two basic facilities and the objectives of regional planning. The third is to implement zoning laws in the area where new airports are needed in future. Now, why these zoning laws are very important? Zoning laws consider that there is no commercial area inside where you bring upon outer airport. Nextly, to optimize the use of land and airspace and preserve the existing airport facility which are consistent with overall objectives of a long-term planning. This planning is not meant for a short period of time. It has to be meant for a long period of time with all the existing features that will require expansion in the future. Next, it is to develop a fiscal plans and to establish appropriate priorities for an airport, financing in short and long-term government budgeting. Now, some of the airports are the private airports. Some may be via the public sectors. So in this, the fiscal plan is very much necessary for proving out to be a government budget finance. And lastly, to protect and enhance the environment through the location and expansion of aviation facilities. Generally, it is a best example of saying that Surat Airport. Surat Airport was a domestic airport since it was built. Next, now it is a requirement of a government that Surat Airport should be international airport again. So, in terms, the zoning laws were very proper. They had preserved the land space. Fiscal plan was very appropriate. That is why it was needed that the environment had to be built in such a way that future expansion of all the aviation facilities was enhanced. Next, we move across to the advantages of regional planning. Now, it enables to implement the zoning laws in the areas where new airports are coming. There is proper coordination of airports for which efficiencies of the airport in handling the air traffic is greatly increased. It avoids close spacing of the airports which help in preservation of the environment. Intrusion of acceptable noise levels and air pollution into the community are also being avoided. It is possible to optimize land use and airspace through regional planning. Now, it is very much necessary for a specific site selection for the airports. So, the site selection process consists of two parts. First, the data required before site selection, and second, the steps taken in the site selection. Now, what are the data required for site selection? Firstly, the peak hour volumes of passengers and cargo at present and in future. The type of aircraft that will use the airport. The type of airport, its size and shape, facilities that are to be provided for passengers, baggage and cargo. The type of operation controls used. Now the second is the steps in the site selections. Now what are the steps? Firstly, the requirement of land area. It has to be very large. Evaluation of factors affecting airport locations means there is to be no high-rise buildings in front or in the nearby vicinity of an airport. Nextly, the preliminary office study of possible sites. Now, it is the very basic necessary step to be taken for site selection. Next, if selected, the site inspection and its environmental study. Next is the review of potential sites. Now it is not considered that every site has an past. So we have to review of the potential sites. Preparation of outline plans to build up an airport. Hence, estimation and costing of the revenues and the airport facilities for the future. Lastly is the final evaluation and selection of site and the reports and recommendations of the expert committees. So many other factors that affect the airport site selection are the regional plan. Now what do you mean by a regional plan? The site selected for the airport should fit well into the regional plan, thereby forming it an integral part of the national network of airport. Next is the airport use. The selection of the site depends upon the use of an airport, that is either civilian operation or an military operation. Hence, during emergency, civilian airports are taken over by the defense. Next, we move across to the presence of other airports. Now, interference between the two airports in the close proximity should be avoided. The distance between the airports will depend upon the circling radiuses and the operational control used. Next is the topography factor. Now, topographical features include ground contours, trees, streams, etc. These features affect the requirement for clearing, filling, and grading of that site. Next will be the ground accessibility. Now, fast and efficient access facility for passengers and cargo are very much essential for an airport to provide efficient service. The airline passenger is more concerned with his door-to-door time rather than the actual travel time. So this ground accessibility has been very fruitfully and the most factor basic essential required that is affecting the site selection. Next are the obstructions. Now in the approach of an area for landing or taking off an aircraft should be removed. The obstruction may consist of fences, trees, high terrain, poles, buildings, etc. Long clearance areas are required on either side of the runways. Next is the visibility. The site should be free from the visibility reducing conditions such as fog, smoke, haze. Poor visibility lowers the traffic capacity of an airport. Wind. The wind data, that is direction, duration and intensity of the wind, should be collected over a minimum period of about 5 years. This helps in a proper orientation of the runway and influences the shape of the site needed for the development of airport. Next is the noise nuisance. In the nearby vicinity, there is much of a noise and that could create a serious problem and considered to be the development of the airport facility. Such are to be avoided. Next, we come across to the geographical features and the geological factors. Next are the environmental factors. The location of the wildlife reserves and immigration of wildlife should be suited. Noise sensitivity and other environmental aspects of the site should be taken into account. Future development. While planning an airport, the provision should be made for the future development for increased traffic. Taking into consideration the anticipated future developments in the airport, larger areas should be acquired initially. Next is the availability of resources nearby. It is the one and the major factor that affects the site selection. Next, we consider have to be the social considerations and the economic considerations for building the proper airport without affecting the cost of anything. Lastly, to avoid hazards, the following hazards should be avoided. Industries in the nearby area producing smoke, creatability, low visibility, etc. Site close to the wildlife reserve, lakes, rivers, refuse dumps, sewage outfalls, etc. may not be desirable because of danger of aircraft collision with birds. So these were some of the factors that affect the site selection. Airport layout. Now what is an airport layout? It is a graphical representation to scale of existing and proposed airport facility, their location on the airport and the pertinent clearance and dimensional information. It gives the configurations of the runway, taxiway, aprons, and should set aside area for the terminal facility. These are known as the airport layouts. Now in this figure you may have been able to see all the basic layout components of an airport. It may be either the parking, the terminal area, the general aviation terminal, the control tower, the freight, the fuel depot, the aircraft stands, the apron, the ramp, the hangars, taxiways, the runways, and other all facilities that are facilitated in and land for making up an airport. Now there are some many elements of an airport. Now what are these elements? These are the runway, stopways and the clearways, the approach zone and its obstructions, the land use around the airport, the land use around the heliport, the taxiways, aprons, terminal area and the travel by the passengers and the baggage area. So what are runway, stopway and clearway? The three things define each other in a different term. A cement concrete landing strip prepared for landing and takeoff operations of an aircraft is known as a runway. Whereas a stopway may be defined as a paved area provided at the end of a runway whose width is equal to the runway and is centrally located along the extended center line of a runway. Clearway, it is provided as a precautionary measure against engine failure. It may be defined as an area beyond the end of a runway, centrally located along the extended center line of the runway, not less than having 150 meters in width. Now, in this figure, I would like you to show the three runways, stopways, and the clearways. The whole strip considering the blue portion, this is known as a runway. After a line, it has a stopway in it. And lastly, it's the clear way. In case of any emergencies, the clear ways are very much necessary. Now, as you can see, the takeoff roll of an engine starts from this end till the 75 percentage, right, where the airplane takes off. If it is for landing, after 1/4 of the portion, the land of an airplane is situated and it will go to the end of a runway where you have your stopway where your aeroplane stops. So this figure shows you the description of runway, stopways and clearway. This is how an aircraft landing and takeoff looks like. Next, in this figure, we'll understand about the engine acceleration. All engine acceleration starts from the starting point of the runway till the 1/4 portion V1. After V1, where you have the VR, it has the liftoff, that is VLO. Now this is the takeoff distance figure. Always we have a 15% margin from which the airplane has to take off. This 15% margin, after that is my stopway. Terminal building, also known as the airport terminal. These buildings are the spaces where passengers board or alight from flights. These buildings house are the necessary facility for a passengers to check in their luggage, clear the customs and have lounges to wait before disembarking. The terminal house has cafes, lounge, bars to serve as the waiting areas for passengers. Ticket counters, luggage checking or transfer, security checks and customs are the basics of all terminal airports. Large airports can have more than one terminal that are connected to one another through links which are known as walkways, sky bridges or trams. Smaller airports usually have only one terminal that houses all the required facilities. These figures show you the waiting area, the ticket counters and the custom checks, and this in total will be the terminal building. Next, we move across to the aprons. Now, as I have pointed in a figure, this is known as an apron. Now, what are aprons? These are areas where the aircraft park. Aprons are also sometimes called as ramp. They are very large in size from the areas that may hold 5 or 10 small planes to a very large area that have major airports. Next, we come across to the aircraft stand. Now, aircraft stand, it is a portion of an apron designated as a taxiway and intended to provide the access to the aircraft stands only. Next are the taxiways. A taxiway is a path on an airport connecting runways with the ramp hangars and the terminals and other facilities. They move, they mostly have hard surfaces such as asphalt or concrete. Altogether, smaller airports sometimes use gravel or grass. So this shows the taxiway. The red mark shows you the taxiway beside the runway. The control tower, having the components of a control cab, the junction level, the tower shaft, and the base building. This in whole is known as the control tower. A tower at an airfield from which the air traffic is to be controlled by radio or observed physically and by radar. Next facility is the airport parking facility. Now there may be number of passengers and the cargo coming into your airport. So the parking is a specific area of an airport at which the vehicles are to be parked. Next is the airport capacity. Now how do we determine an airport capacity? So the number of aircraft movement. I have underlined this. Why? Because the landing or takeoff operations is counted as one operation. So, the number of aircraft's movement which an airport can process within a specified period of time with an average delay to the departing aircrafts within the acceptable time limit is defined as the airport capacity. Now, these may be affected by the following factors. Majorly, the runway configuration and connected taxiway, the aircraft characteristics, the permissible delay to departing aircrafts, the ratio of the arrival and the departure of the aircrafts, landing operations in given priority, weather conditions, terrain and man-made obstructions, experience of the controller, the navigational aids at the night, and the terminal area facility. These are the factors that affect the airport capacity. Next, we come across to an airport size. Now, the airport size can be divided into four parts. The elevation of the airport site means higher elevation will lead to lesser density of air, greater runway length. Next is the volume of air traffic. The arrangement of the runway and the taxiway and the hangars are to be specified following the volume of an air traffic. Next, we have to consider the meteorological conditions in which wind, temperature, wind velocity and the temperature that determines higher temperature decreases of the air density, higher the runway length. And lastly, the performance characteristics of an aircraft. Next are the zoning laws. Now, what are zoning laws? These are the restrictions to the development of the area surrounding the airport so that no structures protrude above obstruction clearance line. Now, the zoning laws are divided into two, height zoning and land use zoning. Now, what is height zoning? The objects exceeding their limiting heights above the ground surface. These are known as height zoning. These protect the approaches and permissible height in the nearby vicinity. Next are the land use zoning. These are protruding above certain imaginary surfaces. Land use zoning govern the type of development in this nearby vicinity where the airport are to be built in the future. So what are the factors affecting zoning laws? The foremost factor is the legal interest. Now legal interest protects the interest of both Airport Authority of the India and the owners. Nature of ordinance, it should not oppose unreasonable welfare of the public. And lastly is the zoning map. It is to prepare the zoning map showing property lines, land use patterns, permissible height of the building, and lastly to limit of the applicability of zoning. The figure in itself means the hierarchy that the legal interests are considered the major priority, nature or the ordinances are considered the mediocre priority, and last is the zoning map that are to be considered while planning, while the factors that are affecting the zoning laws. So this comes to the conclusion of another topic known as airport planning. Hope all of you have found out the importance of it and have thoroughly gone to the PPT. Thank you. Do subscribe to my YouTube channel for all other possible lectures. Thank you.